All right guys, my name is Austin Keil, first Phorm athlete. We're headed to a very private gym today on a private island. Not many people get to go to this. We're here in the British Virgin Islands and I'm excited for it, man. All right, so we're headed down to the gym now. This is obviously different from your usual equipment setup, so we might have to get a little bit creative, but we're gonna be hitting shoulders. Gonna try and get all three of the deltoid heads hit very well. We have about an hour, so this will be a quick hour-long workout. Make whatever we have here work. Usually I'll do pre-workout. Today we got a first Phorm energy. When I'm traveling, I like to keep some of these around. We're gonna do a shoulder workout. So we don't have all the equipment you would have in a typical gym. We do have enough to get a really good shoulder workout in. So I'll probably start over here by the dumbbells, get our warm up in. So I'll usually start off very high rep, a lot of around the worlds. Just get the shoulders nice and warmed up. And then we'll do a similar format for rear delt. So I'm actually gonna do 50 here, and then again, 50 bent over rear delt flies. So the around the worlds are great for your front and mid delt. Now we're gonna hit our rear delt, get everything nice and pumped. And this is gonna get us ready for our heavy lifts. This will burn. It's just pumping blood into the muscle. Warm up with these really quick. I'm gonna do one more there. Then we'll move over to the barbell, increase the weight. So I'm going up to a heavy set of 6 to 8. So I'll start off with 10 to 12 and just progress up in that 10 to 12 range up until I get to a weight where I can't even hit my 10. Then get to a very top set of about 6 and then back off from there. And after that, we'll go into our lateral raising movements. But I like to get a really heavy overhead press early in my shoulder workouts. Just move a lot of weight. Whether you're a beginner or an intermediate, I want you to start off the same way with 50 around the worlds and then 50 bent over rear delt flies. That'll get your warm up right. Then I want you to do 3 sets of that 10 to 12 range, working up to a heavy set of 6 to 8. So it'll be a total of 4 sets here. So 3 sets, 10 to 12, and then a really heavy set of about 6 to 8. We're still doing overhead press, so we're getting to my heavy set of 6 to 8. So warmed up with those. Need a little bit more weight to really push myself. Main thing is just be pushing yourself. If you're failing 6 to 8, I'm happy. If you're stopping 6 to 8 because I counted to 6, that's not so good. You want to be using a weight where you can't do another one. That's failure. So I want to find whatever weight that is. So that's my 6 to 8 there. Done with the heavy overhead press movement. Now we're on to our lateral raise variations. All right, so now we're moving into lateral raises. So we'll start off with front delt bias lateral raises. So you're gonna cheat slightly forward, big bend in the elbow, come out to about here. So we're gonna do 2 sets of 15 to 20 there, and then move into more mid delt and then rear delt. So we'll grab the 25s here. So the reason we keep our arms bent and slightly forward is just to bias the front delt a little bit more. So we had that heavy overhead press. That's obviously mainly a front delt movement. Now this is our front delt bias lateral raise. Then we're gonna get into the middle head. So there's 3 heads of the deltoid. We wanna give the front the most of the work, not the most of the work, but we're giving that the early work, then move into the mid delt, then hitting the rears. So next up we have our more traditional lateral raises. You want your arms mostly straight, coming about 15 degrees from straight to the side. All right, so we do 2 sets there. So you've done 2 sets front bias, 2 sets mid delt bias. Now we're gonna do our rear delt. Training on a private island, you have obviously no competition for equipment. You get to work out in the sun. If you get too hot, you can dive in the water. It's pretty beautiful scenery to be able to lift. You got rum at the bar right there. Pretty much everything you need. For our rear delts, we're gonna do 3 sets, bent over, hands out to the sides, coming all the way up. We're just looking for 15 here. And again, I want you to go to failure. So if that number happens at 12 where you can't get a 13th, that's fine. If it happens up to 20, that's fine. So if you get to 20 but you can't do 21, I'm happy with that. But if you get to the point where you can get 21, 22, anything higher than that, I want you to increase the weight. And if you want to turn your hands in a little bit more, that'll again isolate the rear delt. If you think about a pec deck machine, if you're to do rear delt flies, you'll have your hands going over the bars like this. So whatever you feel the best contraction with and the most burn right back here, that's what I want you to do. So if you look how I twist my hand forward, how it engages the rear delt a little bit more. If you find turning your hand over like this allows you to isolate that and get a better pump in that rear delt, that's how I want you to do it. So the equipment here is obviously not what you traditionally see. We got rocks for our weights. I'm gonna load this with 3 medium-sized rocks and 1 small one and see if that's a good amount. So if you don't know what weight you're using, or you're just kind of making a kind of random workout, just think, I want to be failing somewhere in that 8 to 20 range. We want a reasonable failure point. So you don't need to know exactly what weight you're lifting. It's fine if you don't. But if I get less than 8 here, all right, I know I probably went a little too heavy, I'll take 1 rock out. If I get 25, I know it's too light, I'm gonna add some weight. So I just want you getting reasonable failure points. Next up, we have face pulls. Face pulls are a great movement for your rear delts. So I'm gonna take a step back. You're gonna basically finish in a double bicep pose. So I want you finishing with your hands behind your ears, pull all the way back, come all the way out. Go slow on the way out. I don't care if you're explosive on the way in, but take it nice and slow while you're coming out. If you're in bodybuilding prep and you're pretty meticulous about everything, being on islands, traveling a lot isn't your ideal situation, but you just make it work with what you have. So you go to reasonable failure points, you try and control your macros where you can. Obviously you can't weigh out all your meals, but just think protein target. If I can get my body weight in protein, I'm happy. If I'm trying to bulk, am I eating enough to feel full throughout most of the day? If I'm trying to cut, am I doing a lot of fried foods? Just make deliberate decisions with the food you're eating, with the training that you're doing, and you can still make progress even when you're way out of your normal environment. So in the vein of just making things work, we don't have a great setup for shrugs here. I could do it with barbell over there, but you can make a horizontal pull more of a vertical if you need to. You lean all the way back. So the more vertical you go, the more you're gonna get the top part of this trap that you see from the front. But if you wanna grow that bottom part of your trap kind of looks like a diamond. So the top part of the trap is what will show from the front. The bottom part of the trap is also important. It gives you a lot of that thickness in the upper back. The more that you shrug bent over, the more you'll hit that lower trap. The more upright you are, the more you'll hit the upper trap. So this was kind of midway between the two. If you want to do 2 different trap variations, it's not a bad idea. So just do one completely vertical, one bent over a little bit more, even on an incline bench. If you row high and make sure you focus on squeezing those shoulder blades together, that's the main function of that trap. It's pulling those shoulders back and together. I grew up on that island, like literally right over there. And so I didn't have access to a gym most of my life. We had kind of makeshift stuff, a lot worse than this actually. We just use a lot of water containers and stuff on bars, on broomsticks, just kind of making it work. The first 20, 30 pounds I gained was from calisthenics. 90% of it was just pull-up bar, cinder blocks, random little shit I had around. So you don't need a crazy amount of equipment or a commercial gym or everything in the world to make progress. Just work with what you have, progress it, just find a way to make it challenging for yourself, whether that's strapping a water bottle between your legs for your pull-ups, whatever it is, just find a way to make it difficult for you and just fail, go to failure, go till you can't do anymore. If you're pushing yourself, you can grow. Thanks for tagging along. After my workouts, you know I like to get some protein in, so we have our Clear Whey here. I've never actually tried this flavor before. I've heard it's really good. And right after a workout, especially in the heat, in the sun out here, the creamy proteins, they're not quite as refreshing as these. So this feels like almost some hydration action as well as getting the protein numbers in. Man, that is actually so good. I think this is my favorite flavor of the clear. And I want to give a special thank you to the Aerial BVI. That's the name of this island. It is available to rent. This is the premier wellness resort in the whole Caribbean. 10% of all the proceeds from renting out this island go to charity. Thanks again. I'll see you on the next video.